Good morning, everyone. It's May 14th, 2021. I'm Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop, and we are doing Sewcialites. We are getting near the end. This is a completely free sew along. You can find the patterns at fatquartershop.com. This week we're working on block 31. It's designed by Susan Aki, and it is called Noble. So we're going to show you a picture of her block. And with her block, she just used fabric from her stash. I did want to let you know to check out the Moda Fabrics blog. There is going to be a sew along coming up with her brand new Martingale book, or Martingale book, and I'm going to be sewing along with you. So that's going to be super exciting. We're also going to bring in her quilt to show you, to get you motivated to do the sew along with me. So that's super exciting. And the block is called Noble. It is, I would say, a beginner block for this series. It is made up of half square triangles, and this one you need 8, but you're only going to use 7. So I'll show you from the top camera. Let's see. So when we're going to make 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and when we do that, I'm just going to make 8 and have 1 extra, just because you can't really make, I mean, you can make a half square triangle, just not finish the last one, but I'm going to go ahead and just make 8. Now there's a couple of ways you can make this block. We made it where it's a half square triangle, square, half square triangle, half square triangle, half square triangle, square, half square triangle, half square triangle. Now another way you could piece this is you could do half square triangle, half square triangle, half square triangle, half square triangle, half square triangle. Here and here, you could put a bigger triangle, trim it down, and then add a real big triangle here. I don't feel like I would get as accurate of results if I did that, but if you are experienced, you can definitely try that, and that would be something super challenging to try, just to change it up, because when we do these free blocks, we know that everybody sews different. So if you're interested in doing that, that's something you can try, just to do different, and then it would make it more intermediate. So I'm going to jump right in, and let's see, 3-inch, 6-inch, 9-inch. Now if you're going to be making the 3-inch, which I am, I would use the H100 paper. If you are making the 6-inch block, I would use H200. And if you are doing the 9-inch block, you would use the H300. So I'm going to use the H100, and if I look at A and C right here, and I go to A and C, it says you need 4 squares. So I don't even have to think, I just get 4 squares. So one thing is, I think it's easier to make half square triangles with triangle paper cutting 4 squares this way versus 4 squares this way. Because here you would have to go here, pivot, 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 pivot. Whereas here you can just kind of go in a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to 4 squares. And for accurate half square triangles, no matter what brand you're using, today we're using Triangles on a Roll, you just want to make sure you cut exactly on the line. And I can actually show you that I didn't do that, so I'm going to have a little error. So if we can zoom in right there, I chopped some off. So I can either wing it or I can cut another one. So I'm going to just get rid of this one for now, because that would just be a lot to try to. So I'm going to use these right here. And also for accuracy, you will want to make sure that you're stitching on these dotted lines just right in the very center. If you're a little bit to the left, your half square triangle is going to be too big. If you're a little bit to the right, your half square triangle is going to be smaller. And the reason we do triangle paper is for accuracy. So let's start there. I am using these 2 fabrics today. This is Figs and Shirtings. I'm going to use this yellow and Bella Solid color 200. And I did want to let you know we're not showing the sample maker blocks because we have given them back so that they have time to finish putting it together for assembly. So I have these right sides together, and I'm just going to pin just right here. So anytime you're working with triangle paper, you just figure out the number of squares you need and the size of paper you need, and we do have a free half square triangle guide at Fat Quarter Shop, which will help you with that if you're new at using half square triangles. So I want to say good morning to Lori Holt. She's in chat. Good morning to Mike at My Long Arm. He's in chat. He does a lot of our quilts and our quilting. And Thelma says, when will we get instructions for half square triangles in the Sewcialites Sew Along? Sewcialites Sew Along. When will we get instructions? So the way that we have done the Sewcialites is we have written it for the traditional way because we don't want you to have to buy half square triangle paper because we'll get a lot of complaints. So on these videos, I show you what I do. You can download the guide that we have, and if you look at your unfinished size here and look at our guide, it will tell you what size paper you need, and that's exactly what you need. So there's all the tools are there. And then for B, which is our background, we need a 1.5 inch square. So I'm going to try to see if I can get it from this little piece. We'll see. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to just cut a little piece, and I'll label these in a second. There's not a lot of room on the table. So I've got this cut, and for the D, I need one of those also. I could have done it at the same time. So I will scoot this up and do a little 1.5 inch square here. So I hope everybody had a happy Mother's Day. I had a great Mother's Day. I cannot believe I have 4 children, and I cannot believe that they are all about to be teenagers, and then I'm about to have 4 children in college at the same time, and I'm going to be completely broke. So that's fun. So I've got my D and my B, and then I'll just move these since they're my triangle paper. So this is super easy. I mean, you could get this block done in a cinch because it's so easy. Oh, okay, so on the chat it says, I think she's talking about the bigger half square triangles. So that will come in the week after block, the last block. So it'll come the week after the last block. So pretty soon. And Pat Sloan says, good morning. If you guys don't know who Pat Sloan is, we're gonna have a trunk show of her stuff in a little bit. I have a lot to do today to show you. So over here, I have put in a size 80 needle, and I put my stitch length right here. This is about what I usually stitch at. Actually, I usually stitch about right here. So I'll go to here. I'm gonna go there. The reason you want, whatever you normally stitch at, just go 2 degrees to the left, or if your machine is computerized, just click down twice, because you want it to be smaller so that your paper does not rip out when you're ripping it out. So I'm just going to follow on the dotted lines. And on all triangle paper, there are little arrows, but I've never paid attention to the arrows, so. I don't know why I haven't, I just never have. So you can follow the arrows or not follow the arrows. So do all the little inside ones. I need a little song for when I do this. Because it's really boring listening to the sewing machine. I am using an open toe foot so I can see where I'm going. so those are sewn, and the rest of my sewing will be 1/4 inch seams, so I'm gonna switch to a 1/4 inch foot now, just while I'm thinking about it. So we will trim this down. When I'm working with triangle paper of any size, it doesn't really matter which, I prefer to cut the 4 sides first. Or it could be rectangular, it could be square, it could be anything. Now, you can see right here, there's a little bit I didn't cut off, and I'm gonna fix that so that it'll come out as accurate as possible. And let's see, Laura says, just want to say I handle quality for my company and FQS is top notch by all standards. Oh, thank you. We try. We always try to do our best. Of course, everyone makes mistakes from time to time, but our standard is to try to do our best, and that's what we always try to do. And that's what I tell my kids. As long as you do your best, I'm not going to complain. If you don't do your best, that's a different story. Now from here, I'm going to use a rotating mat so that it's easier. And cut here. Especially when you're working with smaller blocks, you have to be a little bit more accurate. The bigger your block is, the more room you have to make mistakes. The smaller it is, the smaller room you have to make mistakes, because there's smaller pieces to get the wiggle room. I hope that makes sense. But that's what I found. Why don't your patterns also have triangle paper numbers for each block? So next year, the Sewcialites will, and all of our It's Sewing patterns going forward will. So they will. That is a feedback we got, and we will update that going forward. These patterns were written over a year ago. So now I am going to bend my paper back on the crease. And actually, this is when I give these. I actually don't do this at home. My son does them. He loves to do them, and when he goes to college, I don't know who's going to do them because I'm not going to want to. I guess he's only 11 though. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This is my first time to tune in live. I love watching your videos. So helpful. Thank you. Thank you for watching. So I just pulled them off. Kimberly, if you haven't already, you and your kids need to watch the new wrestling show on A&E. Okay, you would enjoy them. Yes, I actually saw them on Saturday, and I watched one on a guy named Giordano, and I never heard of him. It was before WWE, and it was actually before WWF. So I watched it with one of my sons. They don't know who some of the people are, but I do, and it's really I really like how they produce the show, and they also did a behind the scenes, and basically it's the producers of the show, and they talk about what happened kind of literally behind the scenes. So I've been watching those too. I just don't know who the people are. Well, I don't even really know who the current people are. So from here, we're going to press these open. What is the brand of your cutting mat? Creative Grids, and I really like the color. Oh, sorry, Kimberly Cuts. These were made, that's named after me, yay! So, and it does rotate. Sorry. But I just switch it. I just move it, it's easier to me. Any brand, that's what I do. Are there half square triangles in the 2-inch size? Yes, and that would be H200, and that is our best-selling size, actually. Crafting a Plan Life says, is there a trick for using directional fabrics and triangles on a roll to get them coming out the right direction? Basically, what I do is I will take, if I need 4, say I need 4, no 8, like we just did, I will just do 8, and then lay it out and then see what I get. And then whatever I don't get, I'll kind of like put the paper on the fabric and turn it the way I need, and then do it, and just save those extras for later. So for me, I haven't found a perfect way to do it. I just wing it. Basically, I just make what the instructions say and then see if I can make that work. And if it doesn't, I'll just make additional. Oh wow, this is my first time watching how the triangle paper works. I was so confused, but now it makes sense. Thanks for doing this live. Yeah, thanks for watching. Do you have a variety pack of triangles on a roll? Yes, and it's based on our best-selling. It's just called Triangles on a Roll Assortment Master Set. And okay, so from here, I like to cut off my little dog ears. The reason why is I just clip twice right here. Okay, so if I had pressed these open already, then you'd have to clip 4 times. And this is actually a job that I'm trying to get my kids to learn how to do, but they keep chopping into my fabric. So if you had pressed it open already, then you have to do double work now. You have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's just too much. That's just too much work. Now I am pressing open because our setting in this series, a lot of the blocks touch, and so we found that was best. So I'm going to keep doing this. Let's see. Thank you to Super Chat from Denise at .goose. She says, happy Friday morning from me and Miss Gracie. So Piggy says, thank you for the Super Chat. And Valeria Bauer says, you're amazing. Thank you. One day I have to meet you because you do live close. You do live very close. I have so many true crime. I found a jackpot. Oh my gosh, my email is kimberly@fatquartershop.com. Definitely email me. On Wednesday's live stream, I got a recommendation and it was great. It was about, it's from HBO and it's called The Greatest Crime in the Century, something like that. And it's about the opioids and all that stuff. It's really good. There was a little bit of stuff about the Sackler family that I think they could have put in, that they didn't, but that's because I watch and listen to too many true crime things. Are any of you going to CrimeCon? It is in Austin in 2 weekends. It is now sold out, but I am going and I cannot be more excited. It's like the jackpot for me. And let's see. So I'll just press all these open. And then we'll lay everything out. And I'm excited that a lot of you have stayed up to date with Sewcialites. That has been really nice that a lot of you haven't dropped off. Some of you guys have figured out how to finish the quilt somehow, and so that's pretty awesome. They just guessed on I guess the measurements. I love the neatness of pressing open seams, and now I do all my seams open. Yes, I do too. I'm going to actually show you something that I did this week that I wish I would have pressed open and tell you all about it and why I might redo it. Look, my iron put the heat and the paper is curling up. That's funny. Oh, I did forget to show you my blocks though. So these are my blocks. And these are from the On the Farm background, and then the fabric is Homestead by April Rosenthal. And so you can see here is where you could do that little trick. But I always go with half square triangles before anything else. So from here I will lay everything out and we will chain piece. So I just kind of follow the pattern. No clapper today. Yes, I am going to use the clapper in a little bit. I feel like I have a lot of content today, so sometimes when I have too much content, I will take the clapper off because I'm afraid y'all are going to just tune out. So now we have one extra. So I'll just save it for something else. I could throw it in one of my scrap buckets or whatever, but you have an extra. I mean, what you could do, now that I threw it, you could change your block a little. You could do that. You could do that. You could just have an extra one. So let's see. You could also turn it where you're going a different direction. So there's a lot you could do with this. You can do it however you want. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to normal, hopefully. Triangles on a roll makes sewing half square triangles quick and easy. Yes. Maybe your kids do it incorrectly just so they don't have to do it. Oh no, they don't. They like to get chore money. We have a spreadsheet. Oh, because you know, everything in my life is a spreadsheet. They have a spreadsheet of chore money. And let me tell you, when they wake up in the morning, they're ready to go. Money is incentive to little children. Because they like to buy Pokemon cards from some YouTuber, and we told him it was a scam. And it gets them so mad, and Kevin and I think it's hilarious because it kind of winds them up. It's funny. So here I'm gonna just put the little pin in, and we'll go to the side camera and I'll just stitch these with a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm gonna leave a stitch between, a couple stitches between. And some people say when you chain sew that it saves thread. Oops, I'm gonna go back 2 degrees. And then when I get to my needle, I'll pull it out. I'm trying to get my hand out of the way. And then just keep going. And Dateline's gonna have a two-hour brand new special tonight. So that was what I checked this morning. Super excited about that because I love Dateline. Now for here, I'm gonna save time by doing this. I'm going to not pull the iron out just because, and I'm gonna just press to one side and I'll fix it later. But just press it down so that I can add the 3rd row without pressing everything, just to save time. So I think I've got it the right way. And then I'm just gonna add. Now here, I will cut a part right here before I do that so that it doesn't take up too much space. You could leave it chained together. I just think I get less accurate results. So Yvonne is asking, Kimberly, do you have any tip when sewing pinwheels together? I press all the seams, but I still have issues. So some people pop the seams open. So you could Google or YouTube pinwheel pop seams. I don't do it, but Miss Rosie loves it and Jerry Robinson does it. So a lot of people have good results with that. I just haven't done that, but that would be a tip I would try. That's the only tip I know of. I've noticed when you're pinning, you take tiny bits of fabric. Is there a reason? Tiny bites of fabric. I kind of try to pin at the end and the beginning or in the middle. If I didn't answer that correctly, just send in the question again. Does your Juki 1/4 inch foot have a guide? Yes. And you can get a 1/4 inch foot with a guide from Primitive Gatherings. We ordered one, so we're just waiting on it to come. Okay, so it looks good. So from here to here, this should be a 1/4 inch. From here to here, that should be a 1/4 inch. And I'm gonna go ahead and move this out of the way. And we'll just press. I'm gonna press everything and then we'll do the final seams. When will you be getting the Eliso iron? They keep moving the date, so I have no idea. They keep moving the date. It was April, then May, then June. I think it's July now. So I don't know. I would kind of, if you see an iron, I would just get it if you can find one. It's supply chain issues. Do you have a problem with sewing small pieces getting out of shape? Yes, but I use starch and I just try to pin so that it's a little bit accurate. Will you continue doing a Friday live stream when Sewcialites is finished? I look forward to watching you every week. Yes, I will. I'm not going to do a tutorial every single week just because I need a little break. But I will be here. I will keep showing all the things I'm making, and then when we do Sewcialites in 2022, I'll go back to it. I continue to be astounded by those tiny 3-inch blocks. Yeah, they're fun. Try not to burn myself. Good morning from sunny Massachusetts. You've got me addicted to quilting. I have downloaded so many FQS patterns that I'm going to need a lifetime to make them all. Oh, yes, we try to provide a lot of free content. So from here, what I'll do is I'll just pin one side first and then stitch, and then we'll come back and do the other one. So when I'm pinning, and everyone pins a little bit different. So some people pin sideways. I pin up and down, but you should do whatever works for you. There's not a right way or a wrong way. I just find that I get more accurate results. So from here, let's see, I'm going to do poke a pin. So from here, it's going to be harder to see because it's yellow. This little piece right here should touch this little piece right here. So if you're experienced, you don't really have to do this, but this is something that, especially when you're in the beginning and trying to get your 1/4 inch seam accurate, I just put the pin right in that where the yellow and white seam is. Look on the front. I'm a little bit off. So just get it in the right spot. Go back down the other side, right in the point. You do have to have your stitches, you know, they can't be too loose for this to work. And then I keep it kind of straight, the pin. It's hard to see the pin, but I try to keep it up and down. And then just put a pin. Oh, Lori said, Kimberly, that's such a cute little block. Thank you. I don't know what I'm going to do with them when I'm done. I haven't decided. So I'm just going to do the same thing to pin the rest. And I think the reason I have accurate blocks is because I do try to take my time. I'm going to show you some blocks today that I did this week that I'm not happy with and why, and things I could do to make it better. Do you have an estimated timing on Happy Day pre-cuts? Email service at fatquartershop.com and they can look it up. Everything is kind of delayed. So here I'm going to just try to sew, and then right when I get to the pins, I'll pull the pin out, but I'm going to put my hand behind here so that y'all can see. Oops. Some people sew over pins. That's a personal choice. And then we'll see how this looks. Looks pretty good. So I'm gonna just press this with the seam roller. It's a Lori Holt seam roller, and then do the other side. Kimberly, you should make a pin cushion. Okay, so we used to have these pin cushions. These are my favorite, and we're looking into making some new ones that are cute, that have our name on them. Phyllis, of your two Juki, which would you recommend, the white or the platinum? Well, I think the platinum works better, but it's because it's new, and I'm horrible. I never get my Juki's service ever. And I like the platinum. Oh, I like the platinum because it's newer and it works better. But they're exactly the same machine. But I will say the platinum edition, it came with a ton of feet, which is super helpful because they might be something that I might use that I never even thought of ever buying before. Any plans for 5-inch square and a square? Yep, it is already planned and it is in the planning phase. So we have different phases, and it's in our planning phase and should be a couple months. My great-granddaughter loves your show. She's 7 months today and she recognizes your voice. Aw, that's so sweet. That comment too that was talking about my kids, it's actually only one of my kids that does the paper, to be honest, because the others won't do it. So. And I'm going to show you a picture of him later in the show. So it looks good. Yay! Okay, so we're gonna iron it and then so I'm gonna move the sewing machine real quick. So Laura is asking, what is the difference between the Juki 1/4 inch compensating foot and the 1/4 inch with a guide? I actually don't know. They might be the same thing. So I am not an expert on any of that. I would call Primitive Gatherings. They have a store in California and Wisconsin, and they are a Juki dealer, so they could probably answer better than me. And anytime I need something for my Juki, that's where I get it. Kimberly, how is the new iced tea maker? Oh my gosh. So a lovely customer sent me this little thing called an infuser. I've never even heard of it. So now I can make my tea perfect because I put my tea bag, because the new tea maker really doesn't work good with tea bags. So I put my tea bag in there and then I use the hot water from the tea maker and it makes the best tea. So I have finally perfected my tea. So I'm so excited. I didn't even know what it was when I got it. And oh my gosh, I love it. And I can make 1 cup at a time. Any word on American Gatherings? Okay, it has not shipped and I have not received an update, so it's still probably gonna be, you know, at least 2 weeks out. Are any of the kids have shown any interest to sew? Okay, so when Emma was really little, I used to try to get her to sew. Emma is a lot like her mom. She wants to be her own person. She does not want to necessarily do what I do. She's a busy teenager and she is hardly ever home. So she isn't. Now my other sons, they are not interested. But if they are, I don't want to ever push them because I feel like they need to be their own people. But if they want to learn, they know, I mean, I would definitely show them. But I do try to just let my kids be their own person. I feel like if I made them do it, they would just hate me forever. What about a magnetic pin cushion sitting next to a computerized machine causing problems? So I've never had a problem, but I do not use a computerized machine. So there's my block. So let's see. I'm going to compare it to the one I made at home. And they came out about the same. But, you know, just being on camera and stuff, this one came out a little bit different. This one came out a little bit different. So your blocks are never going to come out exactly the same, and that's okay. That's kind of part of everything. So I'm going to reset real quick. And I did not use the clapper, I just forgot, but these are the clappers. Now, for an update on these, I need to email again to find out when we're gonna get them, but we got some in, but it was 10% of our order or something, so we just didn't get our full order, so I am hoping the rest of our order comes soon. There are these that are in stock. These are by the Gypsy Quilter. So, but they're all the same. Make a pin cushion with your small blocks. Oh, yes, I should. Yeah, I'll do that. That's a great idea. I'll do that. Great idea. That is a great idea. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'll show them to you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some exciting stuff. So first, we're going to show you the front of the Rose and Bloom quilt that you can find online. So last week was the brand new motor release. And this is a new quilt that Vanessa Gertzen of Layla Boutique designed, and we love it. And we're publishing the pattern for her. So you can either buy just the book, which it's not going to look like this. It's going to be, this is just how we proof them. And she did a really cool picture that goes on the back. Or not picture, but really cute blocks that go on the back. So on the back, you can either just put a regular back or have fun and do that backing, and I'm actually going to show you how you can get a label on the back of this quilt. My next photo, though, is of my son Peyton. So he is the helper. He is the most helpful in the whole family, and that is him doing all of the triangles for this book. And see that trash can right there? I'm glad that trash can is metal because a few weeks ago, somehow I was burning myself somehow, and I guess out of instinct, I threw the iron and it landed in the trash can. So I was glad that it was, all it did was just burn, you know, the trash can all over my iron, but it survived. thankfully. And thankfully I had no children around. So that is Peyton. He gets a huge shout out for me. He is such a good helper, and he is, he did, I think, about 160 half square triangles last week. So I'm going to show you all about this block of the month. So everything in this book I sewed in 2 days. So I'm going to show it to you. There are 10 different months of blocks, and each month you make 4. So I'm going to show you all of them. So, and they're in order of month. So, and in the book we will put the size of triangle paper that you need. So this was month 1, and all of these blocks finish at 6 inches. And it's very beginner friendly because I made all of these in 2 days. So this is block 1, and I'm going to show all the blocks. They're very pretty, and I'm going to also show you some different things. And this fabric is called Love Note. It is named, and it's got some literature pictures in some of it, and this is really cute. It's a heart. Now I want to show you on this block of the month, I didn't sew everything in order. So look, these hearts go different ways. So this one, I didn't try to plan the direction of the fabrics. This one, I didn't even plan, it just came out right. So that's one of the second blocks. So there's 40 blocks for months 1 through 10. And that's what I'm showing right now. They are very beginner friendly. And again, you can see I did not pay attention to the direction because this goes this way, the hearts go whichever way, so I just did it very scrappy. So that's a 3rd month. And this fabric is so beautiful. So again, this fabric is Moda Fabric, Layla Boutique, and the quilt is amazing. So that is month 4. I guess I should lay them, yeah, all the same way. And in the book will be full pictures of the blocks. I am making the blocks for the block, and then I'm going to show them to you each month as we ship them to customers. And the book quilt is going to be made by Vanessa. So when you look at it, she might have her fabric different directions than I do, because I'm not sure if she's going to pay attention to the direction or not. So this is 5. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making this last weekend, so it was really fun. I didn't even fussy cut there. Usually I would have fussy cut. But I just thought, you know what, I'm going to just wing it and just have fun. And it's very scrappy, so I didn't think the directions mattered. The direction of the fabric, sorry. Now this is one where I did cheat a little bit. So on a block like this, when you add the sides, I cut them wider, and trimmed it down. So I did cheat on this. So you can tell these come out exactly 6.5 because I cheated. And on these blocks, but we just pressed to one side. I didn't do any kind of pressing opening or anything because they're very beginner blocks. And you can see my fabric just goes every which way. So now I've got the last 2 months, and then I'm going to have more because, you know, I'm a little bit of an overachiever. This one was harder. This one I did use the flying geese paper. This was probably the hardest one. And this one did take some time too. This one also took some time. You can tell that I didn't press open because it's kind of bumpy. And if it was pressed open, it would lie a lot flatter, but that's okay. So those are the 10 blocks. Those are the 40 blocks from month 1 through month 10. And we're selling it as a block of the month. Now I'm going to show you what's for the finishing. For the finishing, okay. So we'll start here. Now I do keep it all separate just because I am making all of this so far in advance, and I'm not going to assemble this quilt for probably 12 months or longer. So I just need to keep them separate. Okay, right here, 88 half square triangles. Lord help me. So my son pulled the paper for all of these. And then he went to Build-A-Bear and bought a bear. And then these are some of the, so there's a lot of squares in the setting. And then there's some rectangles, and then this is my binding. And then I just keep a little paper with notes in there so that in a year, when I finally finish it, I will remember where I was at. And I just get these little boxes at the wedding section of Target, and they're like $5. So that would be month 11. And then I'm very excited about this. Now this, I didn't finish cutting everything because I actually miscut. Gosh, can you imagine that? So I actually have to do that this weekend. So on the back there are, and I keep this in a separate box just so that in a year I remember. So I'm gonna show you the 5 flower blocks, and then I'm gonna show you my little tip for this. So these are the blocks. And then I'm trying to remember one thing. Let's see. Okay, so there's that. Now, I have not finished the rest, which would be this right here. The reason why is I miscut. But I have the fabric now, so I will fix that this weekend. Now, up here and down here, these are like, I think, 3.5 by 6.5 inch rectangles. They're just plain. So I cut them. I cut the 4, and I thought this would look really good right there. I'll probably do it this way. So this is the same size. I just put, it's a Sweetwater label, so I ironed it down, and then so you can see that it's the same width. It kind of came apart. It doesn't really stick that great. And then I just added to the top and bottom. So I've already made my label, and I think it matches. It says handmade with love and care. And I think this is, it has my name. I think this is the one from last month's subscription. I don't get paid to promote them. I just love the product. So that is the backing. And this weekend I will cut all the rest of it. So I hope you sign up for that at Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm going to answer any questions that we have. So again, it's 10 months. The first 10 months you make 4 blocks each. They're 6.5 inches, super easy. Month 11 you make all those 88 half square triangles and squares, and then sew it together. So that would be an intense month. And then month 12 you can either, or not month 12, the backing, which you'll get in the beginning, you can do throughout or do it at the end. Will you be doing live stream videos for Designer Mystery? No. So Designer Mystery we've never done videos on, and we won't on that. Are you going to do videos for Rose in Bloom? No. Will the book come with the quilt kit? Yes. It comes with the block of the month. Do you have issues with steam from having your pressing station on a dresser? Okay. No. So on top of that dresser is plywood. 2x4, something like that. I don't know, thick wood. And then I covered it with not wool, but like really some thick stuff, and then wrapped it around, but I haven't had any issues. What is the clapper used for? Okay, they're used to make your blocks flat. So after your block, you've ironed it and it's still hot, if you put the clapper where your seams are and you leave it on a long time, it'll be flat. And a tip is, at the very end of the night, if this is your pressing board, you can just put blocks all around, make it all hot by putting the iron on it, and then put clappers all over it. And then when you come in the morning, you're gonna have a lot of nice flat blocks, because who does that? Me. I guess I can't be so organized. No Target near me. So they sell them online, actually. They actually sell those little boxes online. I can look up the name of the manufacturer, but they do sell them online. And they're super inexpensive, which is why I use them. On Vanessa's blog, she said it's intermediate. You're saying it's beginners. I think it's beginners. Everybody has a different level, they think, but I mean, if I was able to get all that done in 2 days, I think it's super beginner. Kimberly, have you used Quilter Select rulers? If so, do you prefer why do you prefer created grids? I'm looking to add to my rulers. I have not tried Quilter Select. I love creative grids. So when I love a product, I try not to I don't want to add more, but I haven't tried it. So I can't give you a review, but I love creative grids. So thank you to Super Chats. Piggy's going to say thank you to Pam Chamberlain. She says fist bump. Yay. I do that to my kids. I'll give Peyton a fist bump. And Twyla Stone, I love that name, says, I love your videos. You and your team are doing amazing. Yes, thank you to everybody. Hi, Kimberly. Check out True Crime Brewery. It's a great true crime podcast. I think you would like it. I think it's good, but it's not great. I feel like they ripped off True Crime someone else. I think they kind of ripped someone off a little bit. So I don't love it. My favorite podcast of all time, though, is Generation Y. I find that a lot of people might not like it and probably don't agree with me, but I love that one. Is there something that goes under your mat to keep it from sliding? No, it's not sliding. So I don't put anything under it. Oh, under it. Okay, so under it, we have some kind of something, but we have it because the table under it is wood and it just gets stained. So that's why. But if it's on regular wood, it won't move. What size triangle paper will we need for love notes? You will need H150, H200, H300, and H600. So that's what you need. So I'm going to take a little intermission, and in the intermission, we're going to do a little slideshow of all of our charity quilts from 2014 to today, and we are at 75,000 for Make-A-Wish. So thank you so much for that, and I will be right back. Thanks for letting me have a little break. Sometimes it's hard for me to do the whole thing without a break. So I'm going to jump into our next section, which is the red sampler quilt along. So I'm going to first show you Lori's patterns that she put on her blocks that she put on her blog this Monday. So if you go to her blog every Monday until this ends, she will have 3 blocks. On this one, on the left is 6-inch peas and carrots from Farm Girl Vintage, page 53. The block in the middle is the 12-inch Evening Star block from Farm Girl Vintage 2, page 45. And the last block is called a 6-inch Granny Square. And she has a video on that. And the video was posted on May 7th. And so I'm going to show you her blocks compared to my blocks and kind of what I'm thinking. So her first block is the 6-inch, well, we can do that one first. That is the 12-inch Evening Star. So that's hers. And so let's see, the only thing I kept the same is this piece right here. So we're gonna flip and show hers again. So she has the little chickens on the outside and the inside piece. And then, so I had to put the tractors because I don't have any of the chicken fabric. So I was going to see if she could mail me some because I couldn't find anywhere on Etsy. And then I didn't have the red honeycomb fabric, so I actually had to order it from my own shop. So the only reason I didn't use that is I just didn't have any. So I'm really happy with this one. Okay, so when you do the hourglass blocks, Lori makes them with half square triangles. What I do is I take the finished size of my half square triangle, add 1.5 inches, sometimes 1 3/4 inches, cut it in fourths, cut it on the diagonal twice, and then I trim it down. So I did do the hourglasses different. So that's the first block. The second block of hers I'll show you. It is the peas and carrots. And I struggled with this one. So that's her block. And you can see in her block, she clearly has a dark and a medium. And if you look at my block, it does not look good. So I am really thinking about remaking it because I was trying to pick, these 2 fabrics are the same and this one is different. And so let's look at her block again. You can really kind of see the difference in the color. And I just didn't do a great job on mine. So I think I'm gonna redo it. I kind of thought this was lighter. And I think when you put it next to it, it is, but then when you get in a block, it's lost. So I don't love this block. I obviously wouldn't throw it away. I would put it on the back or something, but I'm trying to decide what to do. I'm just not happy with it. And then the third block she has is called Granny Star. And so this is a block that she taught in her retreats that she had years ago. And I'm going to show you my block. I didn't use any of the same fabrics. And the reason why is I didn't have any of them. So these fabrics are actually from a panel from years and years ago. I do think this is a little busy in the center, but it's okay. I'm going to leave it. So on the outside, I used the 1.5 by 3 inch flying geese paper to make that. And then this part I'm going to show you. And you want to watch her video for the measurements. So this is the way that she does granny squares. Great granny squares. Well, I don't know, it's like baby, mommy, grandma. That's how she does it. So this would be a grandma block, I guess. Not a great grandma. It would be a granny square, not a great granny square. So you make it like this where there's a rectangle, rectangle, square, rectangle, rectangle, squares, rectangle, same thing. And then you put your ruler on top. And the way that I did it is I took a 3.5 inch, because that's what you're going to trim it down. And the Creative Grids has a white line here and here. And I just touch the 4 points and then you trim it down. And that becomes this. So this week, she just used these 2 books, which is her Farm Girl Vintage 1 book and her Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. For finishing this, she is going to be using this setting. So if you are going to finish your red sampler the same, you would just look at fabric requirements for the background, border, and binding in this book. So So let me know what you think of my blocks. I'm gonna leave them out, and I'm not sure if I should redo. I'll kind of show them again. This one I love. This one I don't like this, so I don't know if I should just pull this little, I could easily unstitch this and add a square, and if I should remake this one, and I'll let Lori comment too, because she'll tell me if I should redo it. So yeah, so those are my blocks. Do you ever make miniature quilts? I love miniatures. So, not really. I just honestly, I just do what I like at the moment. But miniatures, no, but I think that Lisa Bonjean does a great job on those miniatures. I love your blouse. Where did you get it? Talbot's online. So I pretty much buy everything at Talbot's online. For some reason, it fits when it comes. It's always the same size. It's always consistent. And you can just wait. They always have sales. So you just wait till you get the newsletter, and it's like 20% off this weekend, 30% off. They always have sales. Would 5 yards of a solid fabric be enough for an 84-inch square quilt? It might. I would go with 7 or 8, depending on what pattern you use. Have you seen In Your Own Backyard? Yep. It's, yeah, that was a good one. So that's one thing I worked on this weekend. So I'm going to move to the next section where we work on Sew by Row. So Sew by Row, this is a book that Lori published with Riley Blake. And when she did it as part of the Imagine channel that Riley Blake used to have. And she had tutorials on all of these blocks. So you can find the free tutorials on YouTube on Riley Blake's YouTube channel. Row 2 is 11 blocks that are 4 inches. So I'm gonna show you my blocks. Lori recolored all of these blocks using her B Basics fabrics and a couple of new backgrounds. And we're offering this as a block of the month. And this is month 2, and it just shipped. And inside, you will find the paper. Ignore my handwriting. This is an earlier version of it. But it will tell you exactly where your fabrics go. This is me editing before, months and months ago. So here are my 11 blocks. They're little tomato blocks. And what I will do is this weekend, I will follow that diagram and sew them together. And I already cut my little sashing pieces. So these are so cute. And these are tiny, tiny. And I think, yeah, I did press open right there. Let's see. Pressed open. And then the quilt's going to be 74 by 85. And she also has this cross stitch that matches it that we just finished sewing along with on our YouTube channel called Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube. So if you want to subscribe to that channel, and this is the row that matches it. And I do have a question that says on the Sew by Row, when do we do the sashing? It's in the end. So the sashing, okay, let me show you. Now just remember, this is a copy from a long time ago. So it tells you what to do. So your row sashing is included, and it tells you exactly what to cut, just so that I was trying to make it super easy for you. So this is your sashing all the way across. Now in the end, now let me try to go to that page. The very last month, you will get the sashing for the rest of it. Let me try to, okay, so here we go. So in each month, you're going to get your block fabric and all of these sashing so that you can have your row complete, and your row complete, and your row complete. And the last month, you will get the sashing that goes here, like in between the rows and in the borders, all that, binding everything. So this, you just want to focus on the rows right now. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm in the midst of ordering triangles on a roll. What are the top 3 sizes you use? 2, 2.5, 3.5. No, 2-inch finished, 2.5-inch finished, 3-inch finished. Those are the most used in just patterns overall. And I'm super excited to show you, we got a brand new quilt just back from the quilter, like literally 30 seconds ago. And look at it, it looks so good, yay! So this is Buttercups pattern by Fig Tree Quilts. And oh my gosh, I love it. So this is one of my favorite pantographs, which is the little rose. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I did want to show you, because I was having a bad day, my quilt is not square. Oh, wait, it is. Ooh, it came out square. I was going to show y'all that my quilt wasn't square, but it's square. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's amazing. So I'm super excited that I got this back. And on the back, now this one I made using the leftovers from the Springbrook Blossom Block of the Month that I'm participating in with Corey Yoder. And this fabric was all leftover from that, including this. It's just stuff that I had, and I had to put a lot of white here for me to be able to use the leftover fat quarter I had here. And another thing that I was going to say about this one is I did have to add this yellow right here because there weren't enough yellows. So this is from my scrap, but everything else was left over from what I bought for Springbrook Blossoms. So that's super exciting. And then my next item is Jolly Bar 3 Quilt Along. So this one we're using the Jolly Bar Book 3. And I decided to go ahead and get way ahead because next week my nephew is graduating from high school. So I'm going to be out of town for 2 days. And so I needed to do a couple things ahead of time so that they would be done in time for work. So this block we're actually using for the back of the quilt. And here it is, except I cheated. And now, let me show you. So I went ahead and followed the instructions that you're gonna get next week. So this week you get these instructions. Next week you will receive instructions for the top. And then the week after, you're going to get the instructions for the back. But and I'm also going to go on vacation in 2 weeks. So because of my life, I guess, got in the way, I went ahead and pieced my backing. So here's my backing. I didn't open it all the way. I will tell you, though, this was the quilt that I made, because I make everything way in advance. This was when the starch kind of switched over, and I used heavy starch on this one. And man, I can tell because it is like, it could like literally stand up. Like, it is like so hard as a rock. So here's the back. So make this block this weekend. Now you'll see that I did sew in a label from Sweetwater into the back. And we wrote instructions on how to do the backing so that you don't have to do the backing this way if you don't want to. But because I do so many pieced backings, we're trying to incorporate them in our patterns so that it'll give you a feel of kind of how to do it at home. So this is my backing. Oh my gosh, this fabric, if y'all could see it, is like so thick. It's kind of ridiculous. And then I went ahead, and this is what you're going to get next week, which is the front. So I'm actually going to hold it, and then I'll show you on the table. So it's pretty big. So next week you can get that instructions, and here it is. I'm going to turn it the other way. Okay, there was one change that I made too. 2 changes. Okay, can we zoom out a tiny bit? Okay, I do have a photo to show you from home, and on this photo, I forgot I took this photo actually. So to make this piece go fast, what I did is I pinned everything for sashing all at once. So you can see that big block is the center right here, and I pinned both sides, like this side and this side. And then if you go back to the photo, all those others are just either these blocks pinned together. So I did a ton of pinning all at once, and then I sewed all that real fast, and then one more step and I had it done. The 2 changes that I made are the houses. When we wrote the pattern, one house is up and one house is flipped, like upside down, but I decided to keep mine where both houses go the same direction, so that's a change you can make. Pat Sloan and Gina Tell of Thread Graffiti also made a couple of changes to their finishing, so you can check that out. The other thing that I did do is, before I ever started the quilt, I cut this top and bottom border length of fabric off my piece so that you will not see a seam in the top or the bottom, because that drives me crazy. So those are the two changes. I didn't have to buy any more fabric. I just figured out the size I needed. And I do that with any pattern, whether it's my pattern, a Joanna pattern, a Lori Holt pattern, anybody's pattern. I figure out what I will want that's length of fabric, cut that off first before I ever even start assembling the quilt. Okay, so now I'm going to answer questions on this and anything else I've shown. The fabric on this, the answer to that question is Sunday Stroll by Bonnie and Camille. And I'm going to give this to Gina today. So before she leaves, can she get it? Hopefully she hasn't left. We can give it to her real quick with the binding that's over there. Sorry, let me just give this to my quilter because she's here real quick. Sorry, I didn't even know she was coming this morning. Many quilt patterns are designed for lap, twin, or full. Would you consider increasing the size for some of the quilt alongs to include queens and king? Let's see the rest of that question. To queen size. So the reason we don't do a lot of queen or king size is it becomes price prohibitive, and for people that are on a budget, it kind of leaves them out. So we kind of go towards the price point that we know we can sell well. But we do in our It's Sewma patterns do a lot of, in our It's Sewma published patterns and in our classic vintage and shortcut, we do offer size options. Ellen is asking, where can I find a full picture of the block of the month Rose and Bloom so I can decide if I want to do it or not? So I will get the book and I will open it and I will show you in detail. So here it is, and this is just cut off, but in the book there is a picture. I just want to make sure I don't even think it's in this book. Oh, here it is. Ignore this. This is all incorrect. So here it is. So you can see all the blocks are pieced, block, 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 and then this is a rectangle and a rectangle, and then these are the half square triangles that are made in that last month. So these are all half square triangles creating this. And then these are like the blocks you made during the months along with matching squares. And then like this is a rectangle, a rectangle, a rectangle, a rectangle. So when you put it together, basically I'm just going to put it together in rows and press these this way, the next row this way, the next row this way. So very beginner. Hi Kimberly, who are the top fabric designers that you sell out of? Okay, I hope I don't offend anybody here. Lori Holt, Tula Pink. Kimberly, have you ever done any backing finishing videos? I really enjoy how you do your backings. Yes, so I did a video, we'll have to find it, but I have done a video on it and I've stepped it out, and we're trying to write patterns that have a lot of pieced backings. Is FUS going to carry Moda home on the range? We did not buy that one. So the next item that I want to tease is right here. This is all I can show you. We are going to be hosting a free quilt and cross stitch pattern and video series. It's going to be 4-part series for Halloween. It's going to be completely free. This is the part 1. So we're going to have videos of every instructions of how to do the whole block for quilting. For cross stitch, we're going to feature it in the Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube channel as part of my weekly live streams on Wednesdays. As it creeps closer, we will update you on the final dates that we're going to get started. We're not going to release the dates just because so many fabrics are delayed that we know if we release dates, they'll get pushed back. So we will just tease it now, and it's very easy. I would say intermediate. And you can click on our website and be notified of when the quilt kit comes in and the backing kit comes in so that you can get it when it comes in. The finished size is 40 inches square. And then that's all I can show you. I'll tease a little. That's all I can show you. So that's there. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is, I gotta find the things. So that's the first part. And this is the second part. And this is the binding. This is an example of how my memory is so bad. So first I'm going to show it to the front camera, and then I'll show you the back and all the. So I made this last year. So that's the front, and this is the back. So somehow I forgot I made this last year, and I didn't even include it in my summary for 2020. I made this quilt last year. So this is a completely free pattern on Aditya Sitar's blog, and it is called, let's see, it is called LBQ Mystery Quilt 2020. And there are 10 squares across and 10 squares up. So it's 10 by 10. But the way she wrote it is they're 6-inch blocks. And for some reason, I lost my mind last year and decided to make these 3-inch blocks. So my quilt is half the size. And I've been looking for it all week and I couldn't find it because I was looking for a gigantic quilt. And the reason I couldn't find it is because I made it smaller. This is her Anna fabric collection. So I forgot I did that. And on the back, these are just scraps because I didn't want to have to buy a backing. So on Monday of this week, so this is last year's. Everything is out. It's completely free. It is written to be much larger, and it is written for 10 blocks by 10 blocks, 6 inches size. So I just made mine mini and forgot about it and couldn't find it, which is typical of me. But I forgot all about that. Now Monday, she came out with this year's. So I have made these blocks, but I'm going to explain a couple of things. It is a 2-week event from May 10th to May 23rd. She's going to skip Sundays. So each day, Monday through Saturday, she'll have a free block. Everything is on Aditya Sitar's blog and YouTube channel, and that's Laundry Basket Quilt, and these blocks are 4 inches finished. So her quilt will finish when she adds the border 68 inches square. So 2 things to consider was she released it Monday and I wanted to show it Friday, so that gave me like 3 days to sew it. And so I thought, how am I going to do that? So the way I was able to do it was I decided to just use 2 colors. So I'm using 2 Lori Holt fabrics. They are C745 Cottage and C747 Cottage. So one is the cottage and one is the background with cottage on top of it. So the only way I was able to do that, because a lot of my, a lot of my decision making when you're making blocks is where you put your fabrics. And if you go to her blog, there are fabric requirements for the 2 versions she's showing. One is blue and white and one is multicolored. But I just didn't have time to figure that out. So I just bought 5 yards of each of these, and I'm gonna hope this works. But my blocks are messy. So I should have pressed these open. They are a hot mess of a hot mess. So I'm not really happy with the blocks, even though I've done all these. So I was thinking maybe these are gonna be this year. Let's see what size these are. These are also 4 inches. So I can make these 2-inch blocks. So my thought is I'm gonna go home and think about it. Because to cut, all I would have to do here, can I have a 2.5 inch ruler real quick? Sorry. So these 2 are salvageable. These are not. So I'd have to remake all of these. But I just don't feel like my piecing is very good because I was trying to go too fast. So these blocks are salvageable if I turn it 2 inches. Because what I would do, I'd put it right there and trim it down. And I'd probably put it as close to the edge as I could, because then I can get another size. Anyway, so I might cut this down to 2, and then here all I would have to do is put my white line in this Creative Grids and cut around it. So I don't know. I don't know. Y'all vote. Tell me in the comments, and when I get home, I'm gonna look. So the designer on this one is Aditya Sitar. And she has lots of versions. She has free videos on every one. She has a blog post, and from her blog post there's a PDF where you can download. These are the first 4 days. So the first day was the 9 patch. So on day 1, Monday, you make eight of these. So that was the first day. The second day was the double 9 patch, double 4 patch. You make 20. This was block 3, and you made 12 of those. And then yesterday's block was the half square triangles, so I used H400 to make all my half square triangles. And you made 16 of those. Today's post has some half square triangles that you're gonna make 12 of, but I haven't done any of those. So vote and let me know if you think I should keep it at 68 inches, which are 4-inch blocks, or change it to 2-inch blocks and make it like 34 inches, which is about what the size of the other one is. I'm thinking I will just trim it down and just start over. I don't know how I forgot what I did, but I mean, that's typical. I do a lot of quilts and they get lost and I gotta find them. But yeah, so I decided to just do 2 colors because I wasn't gonna have enough time to plan out. So there's all my blocks. Yay! So I just started with 5 yards each. I'm totally guessing on how much I need. So Lori said, Kimberly, will you be using bee cross stitch for the entire quilt? Yes. So I'm just gonna use these 2 fabrics. And then the border, I will either use one of the 2, and then if I use this for the border, I'll use this for the binding. And if I use this for the border, I'll use this for the binding. Sylvia says keep them the same size. Marianne says use the blocks to make a quilt for your dog. Oh, the leftovers? Oh, yeah, that would be cute. My dog, he does like to be covered. He does like to be covered with quilts. FQS, what new sizes of papers are coming? They are square and a square. I don't want to say the exact sizes because I don't remember them, so I don't want to say wrong. Crafting a Plan Life. Can you do a segment on how to pick fabric and how to place them in a block? I have a hard time figuring out where or how to do that. Yes, we can include that in future live streams. I'm not great at it though. Okay, this one's cool. Crafty Arts. Hello from Argyle, Texas. Thank you for all you do. Kimberly, you're an awesome teacher. Thank you. Well, I will be in Argyle at the high school graduation next Tuesday night. My nephew is a senior. His name is Hunter Lawson, and he is graduating from high school next Tuesday from Argyle High School. Will FQS be carrying Holiday Halloween? Yes. And Holiday Halloween is what that Bats and Boos that I just showed you is made out of. Crafting a Plan Life. What are you going to be doing with all these whips you have? Oh, well, they turn into quilts, and I have, I keep some of them here, some of them at home. I really need to, one of my goals for 2021 is to keep a record of where every quilt I have is, and where it is in my house. Is it in Peyton's room, Will's room, Christopher's room, Emma's room? Is it in my room? Is it in the hutch that we have? So I just keep them everywhere. Lisa Cameron, do you ever sew quilts on sleeves for hanging, or how do you hang your quilts? So I don't. Most of my quilts are draped over ladders or chairs or couches. I only have one quilt hanging in my house. That one I pinned a quilt sleeve on it, but I'm actually going to change that out. Oh, everyone's saying keep your blocks. Oh, everyone's saying keep it. Oh, what if I have to outvote y'all? Sorry. I don't know. How do you make the blocks, the pattern smaller? I have to hand write it out and just do it because I like to be challenged. What is hashtag quilting? I need to do a table topper. Hashtag. I think you mean crosshatch. So let me think of one. Oh, it's at home. I was going to say we could get it, but it's at home on my chair. Crosshatch quilting is, I'll show you. I'm going to find a friction pin and show you. And I'm going to find a ruler. So here you go. So we're going to pretend, this will all iron out with heat from the iron. So if I was going to crosshatch quilt, you could either do, now I don't know how to quilt a thing, so I'm not an expert. So you could either draw your lines like this, and that would be like 1.5 inches apart. So let's see. I send all my quilts to Gina or Mike, and Gina is at Thread Graffiti and Mike is at mylongarm.com. I cannot believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna get home tonight and say, why do I have lines all over my stuff? And I'm gonna go to that iron over there in a second. So one thing you could do, now this looks funny and stupid, but it will look good. So you can do your cross hatches where they go this way, where it's the opposite way, it's on point. So you could do that, draw your lines on your whole quilt and quilt it, or 2 seconds, I'll be back. I just ironed that off. You could do your lines this way, straight, where you just follow the seam. Now, if you do straight line quilting on something like this, where you're right in the seam right here, or right in the seam, don't press open, because if you press open, so for example, if this was pressed open right here, and you're on your sewing machine and you put your needle right in there, it's more likely to pop that seam open from the front. And Gina did a crosshatch tutorial during the Ultimate Beginner series, and it's here on the Fat Quarter Shop channel. So thank you, Peach, for reminding me. But I do love crosshatch quilting. So you could either do it straight, where you do all your lines this way, or you could do them on the diagonal. Any update on strawberry and rhubarb? No. So all the questions we have gotten on fabric collections, we will put in our section next week and get dates for those later next week. When will the fabric requirements be up for Bats and Boos? It's not going to be up until the fabric arrives. Will the jelly roll for Dear Christmas come back in stock? No, those are one and done. So Moda just makes them once. The next thing I'm going to show you are the Riley Blake Designs Sew Along. So this is completely free on the Riley Blake Designs blog. And this block is called Glint. It's by Melissa Mortensen. And so I have done my blocks using the Prim Fabric Collection by Lori Holt. They're all 10 inches finished. And I have some Sashiko stitches right here that I put with pink thread. It looks really good in person, I promise. It just on camera looks, you can't even see them. But I used a thicker Aurifil thread. So here are some of the blocks that I've done. And I just used 4 fabrics, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we put the information on the ones that the fabrics I'm using somewhere on social media. So here are the blocks so far. There's going to be 16, I think. Yeah, 16 blocks, and they will have a finishing instruction somewhere when it ends. And they're the first 3 Tuesdays of the month. And this one I showed how I had to make a template because I couldn't figure out how to do it with the pattern. So that's exciting. And then another sew along that I'm doing that is also free is right here. It's by A Quilting Life, Sherry McConnell. She has a blog and she has a YouTube channel. So I showed this last week and I got comments on if I should leave the block where they all go this way or if I do this. So this is it, and this is what I did. And I thought I would just show you all my blocks because I forgot to do that last week. So here's May, April. So these are free. So sometimes you guys comment and say, why do I have to pay for this? So I try to do a lot of free things on the channel so that you don't always have to pay. This is March. And this fabric is the Flea Market collection by Lori Holt. This is February. This one was a little bit challenging. And this is January. So the one thing that I did decide, and I need to see when June is going to be up. I need to email her. So I am using these two fabrics throughout. The brown is my accent, and this is my background. And so you can see I have made that work throughout, just so there would be some kind of consistency in my blocks. So that's completely free. So let me know if you have any questions on that before I do my trunk show. Oh, there are no questions. Oh my gosh. Are y'all still watching? I hope you're still watching. So we're gonna do a trunk show. This is a brand new book published by Martingale. It is called Holiday Celebrations. It is by Pat Sloan, who we love dearly. And so obviously the book is based on holidays. So I'm gonna go through the book and show you all of the items. We do have a coupon that's 20% off. It is from now through Wednesday, May 19th. And so we have the code right there. So when you check out, you can get 20% off this book through the 19th. So the first quilt, I'm going to kind of show y'all on the table first. This one is called Be Mine Always, and then I'll hold it because it's, and I do want to show you this. This is how she has a lot of her quilts labeled, where she puts, oh, her phone number. I don't know if she wants her phone number shown. Her phone number, her email, who quilted it, who pieced it, the date, so that if it's ever lost when it's shipped somewhere, it can come back home to you. So she does put that on there. And then this quilt is huge. So this is called Be My Always. It's 65 by 77. Oh my gosh, and I have it the right way somehow. So this, she has a lot of scraps. This one's pretty big. So that is the first quilt. I'm gonna stand and show it to you, but it's pretty gigantic. So that's the first one, and the quilts in the book do go in order by year for the holiday. So like the first holiday is obviously Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna fold this up first. So that's the first one. The second one that goes with it, these are so cute. I love these. These are pillows, and they're 18 inches. And the quilting on them is amazing. So I want to show you the quilting. This is the quilting that I see a lot now, where people are doing it on your home computer, your home, like your machine, your sewing machines that have, what do you call it? Digital something something. They're digital. They have like little motifs in them. What do you call that? Specialty stitches. Sorry, I'm like blanking. So this is, and this right here is Essential Dots by Moda, and this is an Ann Sutton fabric. And the back is a envelope back. The next one is called Hello Love. It's 21 inches square, and it's Valentine's. And what she did here is, these are from the Just Another Button Company. I recognize them, and she layered two buttons. So like a bigger button in the back and a smaller on the front. And she did different. And then on the back, she did it after quilting, where she just tied it on the back. And then here, the same thing. She put name, year, phone number, email, state, city and state. And that's a thing you can do if you know, you don't want them to get lost. And that's why I sew my quilts in, but mine just have my name. But I am hoping that if somebody Googles me, they can find me. So this is called Chubby Carrots. I love it. It is 18 by 46, so it's a table runner. And this is where you could put like a really nice bowl, a dough bowl, you know, fill it up, put a bowl in the center. And then I'll show you the back. The next one is also Easter. It's called Bunny Hop Pillow. It's a 16-inch pillow. The others were 18. And all the applique templates are included in the book. And this applique is amazing. I love it. It's machine stitched. I wish I could do that. And to go with this, she made some Easter basket coasters. So they're 7 inches square. And if you wanted them to be like pot holders, you know, you can buy that like heat resistant Pelon insulated type stuff to where you put it on there and then it won't ruin your table. These are really cute. And then the next one is called Liberty Hill. And it is 56 by 72. So I'm going to do the same thing, show you on the table first. So her backing, this is really cute. She has a pieced backing. So this is obviously very Americana. Oh, I love it. I love this fabric right here. Bonnie Camille. Okay, so I'm going to show it from the front. It's 56 by 72. So I'm going to take a deep breath and hold it up. It's so pretty. I love it. This is my favorite one from the whole book. And on the back, the way she has it pieced is like the top is the small dot, the middle is the big dot, and the bottom is also the small dot. And that's a great thing to do when you don't have enough for a full backing. So I'll focus up. So again, that one is Liberty Hill. And the binding on this, the binding that she put is on the straight, but you can always do that on the bias if you wanted. And I did want to point out that in all of these quilts, she has done machine binding. So, and it's actually machine bound on the front and the back. The next one is really precious. It's called Welcome Home. It's 13 by 18, and obviously it has some applique. I love her applique. Whoever does her applique, I would like them to come to my house and teach me how to do it. Because look at the little blanket stitches. I love it. That's like the one thing that I wish I knew how to do. And this is Sparkler. So this is another Americana, 54 by 54. This one does have a sleeve on it. So this is a quilt sleeve. I am going to have to get somebody in here to teach us how to do this so that we have a video on our channel. And then here, she just put this kind of on top with all her info. And you're gonna love this one. This reminds me of Pam Kitty Morning fabric that Lake House used to produce. And it is 54 inches square. So I'm going to show you here from the back. It's really pretty. And this backing, the back is just one fabric. The top is just the holder, the sleeve. And so you could put, like with this, you can put a wooden rod. Like you can go to, hold on. So from the upper camera, what you can do is get a flat, skinny piece of wood. I don't know what you call it, plywood, something, a stick. I don't know, and just put it in here. And then you can put like nails on the wall for the wood to stay. I don't really know. I should probably stop talking about it because I don't know. Oh, and Pat says she does her own applique. Oh, I'm gonna come to your house and learn how to do it. The blue and white one is stunning. Oh my gosh, I love all of these. And then this one is Halloween. Spooky Twist. This is 36 square. And so here it is from the front. And the back. And so she's got orange here, but then a different orange on the back, even though it looks so similar. So it's probably from the same collection. And then this, I always want to make these, but I never do. This is a little box you can put your fabric in. Treat totes. And then these, oh my gosh, I wish my kids were still little. They do trick or treat because Kevin actually makes them. I don't really want to anymore, but he makes them. So I was saying yesterday that this really reminds me of Pac-Man with the bow, but then somebody said it's Mrs. Pac-Man. So I think there was a game for Mrs. Pac-Man that was different than Mr. Pac-Man, but I don't know. I can't remember, and I'm showing my age. But it reminds me of the Pac-Man. So they're little, I think you can kind of see the size here. And you can put the little, oh my gosh, these are so cute. My kids are getting too big for all these things. And then this one, we're moving into fall. It's called Give Thanks. It's 16 by 52. And this is from, this is a fig tree fabric. And this right here is Andover fabric. It is Renee Nanneman fabric. So it's a mix of Renee Nanneman and fig tree. So this is an example of how you can mix different designers. You don't have to, and then there's a brown solid on the back. And in the book, I believe it lists who all of the quilters are. This one does not say who the quilter is. I'm folding them all up. And then this one coordinates. This one is Hello Autumn. It's 15 inches square. And then I'll show. Oh, a dowel rod is what you should put them in. Yeah. The next one is Batiks. And this one is Christmas. This is called Merry Little Houses. And I love this border up here. So it is actually not all batiks. So this is a mix. These, like some of these are batiks, and then the back is a batik. And I can tell just by the feel. And so it's made up of houses and half square triangles on the edge. So here's the front and the back. And then this one is called Peppermint Lane. It's a beautiful table runner. Peppermint Twist, 16 by 42. And gosh, if I could do applique like that, it would be amazing. So this is Ann Sutton fabric. And then I'll show you from the front. So pretty. I should make this one. I should make this one and then send a little piece to Pat. And then this is the backing. And this is Blossom fabric by Riley Blake. And then she also includes stockings. And they're about 6 by 18 inches. And they're different. One is rectangles, this is squares. And then on the front, she shows you how you can put the cuffs on there. I've never done a stocking. And I think those are the grunge metallic box. Sorry, grunge metallic dots. So that is the Pat Sloan book, and their coupon is on the screen. So I'm going to answer any questions you guys have on that book, and you can ask any specific questions on any of the quilts, and I can flip through the book to answer. Kathy says, I would love a girlfriend's getaway with Kimberly, Lori, and Pat Sloan. How cool would that be? Yeah, I want to do that too. I want to go. Oh my God, can you make that a quilt kit? Which one? So all of these quilts were probably made, and some of them on the back say 2019. So I'm sure some of the fabrics are discontinued. Oh, and then she said, Pat says she quilted the leaf runner herself. Go, Pat. I'm too scared to do it. I need to go to work. Pat Sloan, Fat Quarter Shop. I love your trunk show. I need to go to work too. Oh wait, I am working. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. Pat Sloan does her own applique. The blue and white one is stunning. YouTube live with Kimberly, Lori, and Pat just sitting around talking and answering questions from YouTube channel. That would be awesome. Yes. I need to go to Lori's house. The next thing I'm going to show you is our Blast from the Past. So this is going to be where I go through my stash, different employees go through their stash, and we find older quilts that, 3 years or older. And this one was published in 2018. The fabric is Little Snippets by Bonnie and Camille. Deborah made the sample, and Mike at mylongarm.com did the quilting. And so it's the cover quilt. It's actually this quilt. And I'm going to show it to you from the front, and there's actually a mistake in it. So I'll tell you the funny story. So there's actually a mistake in one of the blocks. And what we did, I don't know where it is because it's been years. We creatively left it out somehow on the picture. So it was out here somewhere. We creatively did something. So that happens. Like, that's just something that happens. Like, when y'all feel bad about making mistakes, don't feel like it. This has a quilt. Guess what? It's used all the time. We also have a video of the week, and that is something that we published in 2016, so such a long time ago. It uses the H600 triangles on a roll, and we're throwing it back every week to some of our favorite Fat Quarter Shop videos. And the reason we're doing that is because we have such great content, and a lot of you guys are just now learning about us, and we want you to be able to see all the stuff we've done over all of these years. And then for our What's New section, we have our brand new Among the Stars, again, block of the month. So this was a pattern we published, like, I don't know, 2008, 2009, a long time ago. And I love the blocks because they're nice, they're classic, and they're not hard. And they use triangle paper, which I always love. And then Sarah took it and we added a border, so that's why it's called Again. So you might have the original pattern in your stash, and that was just called Among the Stars. And we did 2 versions, and they're block of the months. So this is Fig Tree Fabrics, and this is Vanessa Gertson Christmas Morning. So I'm gonna open the quilts and show you. I'm not gonna hold these, they're way too big. So this quilt was sewn by Teresa, and Gina quilted it, and Gina is at Thread Graffiti. And you can find her on a website or on Facebook. So this is the Christmas morning fabric that we're waiting to arrive from Vanessa Gertson. So she's the same designer that did the book, Rose in Bloom, and the border. So the border is actually not too hard. It's just, this is a flying geese, just a rectangle on a rectangle, corner squares. So it looks much more, and I mean, this is just squares and a rectangle. And I love the quilting, and I love how these quilts have a lot of white in them. It makes them a little bit more modern, a little bit more fresh. So you're getting a 3D. That's my version of 3D. That's my version of 3D. Okay, so that's the Christmas version. This one is Fig Tree Fabric, and Gina actually sewed the sample and quilted it. So thank you, Gina. And thank you, Deborah, who made the other one. I made the original one, but that's, I don't even know. I could maybe find that one. And so this is the Fig Tree fabric that is coming out. It is not released yet. So we just wanted to show you the book is out. If you bought the book, you can sew it in any fabric you like, but we also have a block of the month where you would get these exact fabrics. And the same thing on the border. These are all beginner techniques. It just looks a lot harder than it is. So I want to give a big thank you to our new YouTube members, Gabriella Davis, Donald Smith, Herminia Rojas, and Christopher Thompson. He is a fabric designer, and he is also the marketing director at Riley Blake Fabrics. So that's awesome. So thank you. And Whimsical Thimble says, it is a rock It is a star-studded day. Pat Sloan, Lori Holt, Christopher Thompson, Gina Tell, love you all. Thank you for your generous creative ideas. So thank you so much. What solid did you use on the Christmas version? The Christmas version, there is a white on white from that collection. It's a polka dot, and that is what we used in that one. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy to spend my Fridays with you, and I will see you guys next Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you then.